Hello, hello, it's June Olson with Junebug Creations, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you live from a sunny Whitefish, Montana. Gotta love that, right? It's spring. It's a little breezy, so the breeze is a little cool, but it's pretty nice. It was in the 70s yesterday. Whew. I saw people wearing shorts. That's not quite warm enough for me to wear shorts, but it was nice to see and feel the warm sun and the weather. Yesterday was Mom's birthday, so we played in the garden for a little bit, weeding. She calls that playing. She likes that stuff. So we went ahead and did that together, and we had fun. We did dinner out on Tuesday. We did breakfast out this morning. So we're kind of stretching her birthday across a few days. So super fun. All right. Do you stretch your birthday out for a few days or for a whole weekend or for the whole week or maybe even for the whole month? I like to stretch mine for the whole month. Since it's in June, I get to just celebrate June, right? That's just the way it is. The older you get, the longer your birthdays get, right? Isn't that how it's supposed to work? I think that's how it should work. I love celebrating birthdays. All right, so today is Thursday, so it is Paper Pumpkin Playdate. Are you ready to play with this new paper pumpkin? All right, before we get started with that, to allow people to get on, I'm going to go ahead and go over a few things about Paper Pumpkin. So this is what the box normally looks like. It's all inclusive. It comes to your mailbox every month. And it's kind of a surprise. They give us a hint as to the theme of the kit, but they don't show us what the cards are going to look at or what the projects are going to look like. So for example, May's kit is this one. It is called Mountain Majesties. It's obviously going to have some mountains, some trees, some water, celebrate Father's Day, birthdays, and beyond. If you're like me and you live in a mountainous country where people are all outdoorsy, this is girls or guys. It doesn't have to just be guys. All right. And it tells us, I have the thing, that tells us it's going to be 9 cards, 3 of each of 3 designs with coordinating envelopes, pre-cut vellum and paper pieces, watercolor card bases and coordinating envelopes. And I'm going to guess it's going to be super nice because Paper Pumpkin just keeps getting better and better, in my opinion. Every time I think they can't outdo themselves, they do much better. And then the colors are going to be Basic Black, Lost Lagoon, Misty Moonlight, which will be your Stampin' Spot, Mossy Meadow, Pecan Pie, and Petal Pink. So all some great outdoorsy kind of colors and feels. Then for June, it's going to be this one, Full of Charm, and it coordinates with the Floral Charm Suite collection. This may be an online exclusive coming. I'm not sure. I haven't found that one yet in the new catalog. So it says 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs, which is the typical way with coordinating envelopes. Envelopes and card bases will have decorative gold foil. We like that. Pre-cut paper pieces and unique sentiment labels. Coordinating colors are Berry Burst, Cajun Craze, Early Espresso, Mossy Meadow, Pretty Peacock, which will be the Stampin' Spot, and Timid Tiger. So this is the Pretty Peacock color here. Gorgeous flowers, really, so I'm excited to see. And then you can see here, I think, is where it's going to be the gold foiling, outlining. So we'll see. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. The other part of having a Paper Pumpkin subscription is when you do subscribe, you can get the add-ons. Now the add-ons go by quarter. So these are for quarter 1. All right, so this coordinated with January's kit, February's kit, and March's kit. And then this coordinates with April, May, and June. And this one mainly for the May or the April one, because it's called Inked Occasions. And so it uses the word hugs. And then of course you can use these. You'll see for my alternates today that I use a number of these. So these are the add-ons, but you can only get these dies if you are a subscriber. So that's just like a perk of being a subscriber is then you can order these. You have to be able to put in your email address that goes with your paper pumpkin to be able to order these or pass kits. So normally the kit looks like this. Poppy Parade with polka dots, says paper pumpkin, but this month and sometimes other months it's got a special box. So look at this cool box, right? It's awesome. All right, it's very reminiscent of a similar one we had a few years ago that had gold foiling on it, and the paper coordinated with a bunch of stuff from the catalog. So this is it. Again, it is still all inclusive, so all you need is a pair of scissors. Everything else you can use everything that's in the kit. So this time around it came with a Berry Burst ink spot, one of my all-time favorites. Did my nails in Berry Burst. Then it has, in your very first kit, it has a block that you can use for your clear stamps. This one has Thinking of You, Congratulations, Hugs, You Are Amazing, I'm Here for You, Sending My Love, On Your Retirement, and To the Happy Couple. So it can be a wedding card if you need it to be a wedding card. It's very pretty, very elegant looking. Here are our no-fail instructions. On the back it shows you what's included in the kit, shows you and tells you about the current add-on dies, gives you the coordinating colors: Berry Burst, Flirty Flamingo, Fresh Fuchsia, Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather, Peach Pie, Pool Party, and Gold. And then if you want, you can do the QR. This is the QR code for help, or you can just go back to last week when I did the card, so you don't have to even QR code this. You can just go back to last week's Paper Pumpkin Playdate and see how to make the cards. Then here we have the ingredients for each card: card 1, card 2, card 3, and then you have your no-fail instructions where it shows you fold the card, put the stamp here, ink it, stamp there, stamp, ink, stamp. It shows you exactly what to do. So it's truly no fail. You can't fail to put these cards together the way they have it designed, or scrap these, do your own thing. That's what I'm doing today. So first we did this one, Hugs. See, I stamped the butterflies there. Hugs, I'm here for you. All right. The nice thing was that you have these awesome envelopes, and then you had the double-sided of the cards. Excuse me. Hold on, let me get a quick drink of water. I've had a tickle in my throat. It could very well be allergies. I don't know. But I've had a tickle on and off in my throat. Then we had this Thinking of You, where we put on dimensionals this flower piece and put it there. And again, it was a two-sided card. Now this side doesn't have the gold, and you'll see what I did with that. This side has the gold, so it kind of frames it in a little better. Excuse me. And then we have these beautiful envelopes. And then this one with the gold foiling amongst it. Congratulations, you are amazing. And again, it was the double-sided cards, all right, and the awesome envelope. So what I did is I wanted to do something to where I can maximize this. Hi, Kathy, great to see you here. I wanted to maximize the fact that you had two of the same card fronts, and I wanted to use that. So on my cards, we're going to, let's see, I already pulled out the Hugs. I need, I think I'm going to use the other part of this one. I use this one, and I'll show you my original prototypes. I use this one, but I think I'm going to go ahead, because I don't want to waste. I'm going to go ahead and use this and see how it works on the card as well. And then I did use one of these. It was the Congratulations. I think this time I'm going to do the Thinking of You, so we can change up the sentiments. All right. And I think I already pulled out one of those. And then that one doesn't need it. So here's where I used these card bases. All right. And we're going to start with this one. So this one was this right here, all right? But I cut it like that, and we're going to use it going this way. Actually, I'm going to use it going this way. We're going to trim off a little bit more of that because we're going to trim it down to fit on a card base. So our card base for this one, I chose the gorgeous Grape. So we're going to cut that at 5.5 and score it at 4 1/4. Because that's the main size of your cards, 5.5 by 4 1/4. So we've got that. Let's go ahead and do this. We're gonna burnish it. How you doing, Kathy? How's the weather over there? My son is still over there in Ohio. He's got another tournament today and tomorrow, but he's only competing tomorrow for Hammer. And then we're gonna take this card front, and I just want a little bit of an edge. So instead of cutting the usual 4 by 5 1/4, I'm actually going to go 4 1/8, so that I just have a wee little bit of a border. 4 1/8, and I'm going to cut off this side because it's wider, 5 3/8. And that will then give us just a slight little gorgeous Grape border around the card, and still get to use that whole card front because it's so beautiful. I wanted to cut as little of it as possible. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that on. I didn't emboss this one, but I could. Let's see. See, I had a hard time. What would you emboss this with? I didn't want to do any circles. I didn't want to take away from this design here, this pattern, this beautiful coloring. So, you know what? I don't think I am going to emboss it because there's just sometimes when I'm not sure what embossing folder will work. Hi, Missy. You're good, cool, and damp. Ah, you guys are getting rain. Well, of course, it's track season, so it's going to be cool and damp. My son competed better. He did better when it was cold and wet than when it was sunshiny. I think he prefers the cold and wet when he's competing because he just seems to do better. So maybe he's glad if it's cold and damp. Maybe it'll rain tomorrow and he'll do better. So we're going to put the card like this, and then we're going to take, where is it? This part here. So what I did on this one, I'll just show you. I used a little bit of the gold, so I'm going to cut off the other side here. And then I just cut a part of that. So where's this one? So I really mixed it all up. So I just cut a part of that. I just cut that leaf right there off, and I put it up the center where the white was. So now, because I still have this part, I'm going to use this piece and cut it and put it up the center. So for this one, I'm not going to use the dot, so I'm going to take that off. But I wanted a little bit of the gold, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. We can use that for something else somewhere else. All right, and then I'm going to pull this out like this and see where can I cut it. I'm going to go ahead and pull the whole thing out. Where can I cut it so that I can maximize its use? All right, so this other one, all I did was cut here. Nothing was attached, but these are attached right here. But I'm going to go ahead and let's see. I'm going to cut it right here, just straight up, and then I'm going to detach them here by kind of cutting it like that, kind of rounding it out. There we go. And then I have that to use on another card because you can just cut up all the card faces. All right, and so then that can go right there and fill that white space. So we're going to go ahead and use some dimensionals. Let's see, those are too big. Where are my skinny ones? Where are my minis? Where did I put my minis? Let's see, did I put them back in here? No, I didn't put them back in there. Where are my minis? All right, I can't find my minis, and I don't want to go digging. I still have a whole big old mess from the weekend, so I'm just going to use these. They are small enough. I could have just done a whole strip now that I think about that. I think we'll just do a whole strip like that. And then I need some minis there, and those are going to be too big, so we're going to cut those in half. So we need a mini here, like that. And then I need a mini on this one. There we go. And I think, I don't know that anything else is going to fit, so we're just going to do that, because the rest is all kind of skinny, so we don't want to mess that up. Is it light enough for you all? I'm finding it a little bit dark for me. All right, so then I'm going to lay this, I'm going to set this right here so it lines up with the base of the card like that. And then we have those two. And see how it takes up that white space, but you still get all this gorgeous color. And then we're going to use the Thinking of You. Here we go. And where's the stamps? The Thinking of You. Here we go. Let's pick it up with our block. And again, I'm using my thicker blocks because they're just easier for me to grab. All right, and I did it in the Gorgeous Grape. Instead of the berry burst that came with it, I took the Gorgeous Grape to pull in that purple from the paper. All right, line that up, centering, just like that. Firmly, but don't press hard because you don't want to squish it, because if you squish it, then your letters will be kind of full and fat. So Missy says, where's my... Missy says painted, but it's retired. Oh, the paint, yeah, the painted texture, that would have been good, but yes, it's retired, so I don't use it on lives. I did keep it though, I think. And you really like the 1/8 border. Yeah, the 1/8 border is great when you don't want to, you know, you just need a backing, but you don't want it to be the focal point. You want this card front to be the focal point. So that's when I go small to the 1/8 inch instead. All right, so this one, let's see, we did this one I put over here on this side because we had more space, but here we have more space over here. So I'm going to put the Thinking of You over here, and we're going to put this splash of gold behind it. So I'm just going to put a little dab of glue there and there and there on all the thickest little parts. All right, and we're going to stick that down here like that. All right, and then we're going to put some dimensionals on here. So I can put a thicker piece there. I'm going to be having it over here, so I don't want to put, I could put a little piece right there where I'm going to stick it. And I like to put it in here because that way I know for sure I'm not, did I stick it on there? I did, goodness gracious. The whole reason I put it there was to not stick it on something. There we go. So that way I don't stick that down and it all stays flush. Did you see that? That was just crazy. All right. And then we're going to put the Thinking of You right there. So it's got the here and it's got it here without sinking those down. All right, so what do you think? What do you think? Do you like one better than the other? I think they both look great. It's just a great way to change it up and to get more cards out of it because you're using the front and back. You know, you had this one. This was just one card. Although later I might just cut this off and turn it into two because it's just so beautiful. And I've got extra flowers I can put in there. So this is this card reimagined into these two cards. All right, what do you think? I'm loving it. I had so much fun. I worked on these at Card Club. No, not Card Club. At the retreat this weekend. All right, so the next one was this one. So the original card here is the congratulations, using the gold leafing and wasting that. So let's reimagine it. And the funny thing is I did not stamp any of the butterflies on my alternate cards, but you totally could. I was thinking I might use the brushed brass ones. That's what I forgot to grab. Here we go. Let's get these over here. The brushed brass ones. Do I have an open pack? I have an open pack. All right, so these ones would be great because that would still kind of, you know, you can't really tell if it's brass or if it's gold, so it works. So let's see if we were to spice these up a little bit with our butterflies. Had to order a new one. You can see how much I used them. It's almost gone. And they have carried over again. They are popular, so they and the birds have carried over. I don't feel like birds would work on here, but butterflies would work on here. So instead of the stamp, I did, look, I cut the stamp apart. All right, I cut this stamp apart. Instead of having it like that, I cut it apart. Oh no, here, it went like this. There it is. There's the line. It was like that, but I cut it apart so that I could use it separately, and then I forgot to on these. But let's go ahead and use these. Let's get our take your pick tool. And actually for this one, when it's flat like that, I find it easier sometimes to use the spatula. So we'll do one there, do one over here, another one right there. All right, so you can't really tell that those aren't necessarily gold. All right, so let's go ahead, we'll add our little ones over here, over there, and over here. All right, yes, I like that better than the stamped ones. Just for these cards, I just like them better than the stamped ones. All right, so let's see how I reimagined this card. All right, so we're going to, let's go ahead and stamp. And I stamped this actually in black. All right, I put sending my love and I stamped it in black. Where's the sending my love? Here we go. Sending my love. And you'll understand why I did it in black here in just a moment. There we go, sending my love. All right, so that's done. We'll set that aside. And we're going to bring in that other purple, that other gorgeous grape. We're going to score it at 4 1/4. make sure you get your cutting blade out because I cut a few times instead of scoring. All right, and we're going to burnish this. And of course you would put your white on the inside. I didn't on these yet. I didn't finish them up that way. We're going to have this way, but then we're going to come in with black. All right, because black, look at that. Black just really set off those colors. So I'm going to come in here with the black. We're going to cut it to the frame of, because again, we don't want to cut too much of this. So we're going to cut this to 4 1/8. So it'll leave that 1/8 frame and 5 3/8. All right, that way it's got this just a little bit of the gorgeous grape peeking out. All right, and then we're going to cut this to that 4 by 5 1/4. Let's see, I wanted more of the blue pool party. So I'm coming over here, I'm cutting right along that line. Here we go. And then I got to turn it around to make sure. Oh, that has a lot of white there though. I think I had wanted to get rid of the white, so maybe we will do this. And then you could still use this on the inside of it to give it some color. So 4 by 5 1/4. Like that. Oh, we're not quite done. All right, so that way, oh, maybe it wasn't 4 by 5 1/4 now. Here we go. All right, so that way it fits inside that black frame. All right, so hang on. Let me just measure this real quick because I think I did this wrong. All right, so 4. So it's actually 3 3/4. Well, you have lots of strips to use. So it's 3 3/4 by 5. So this time I'm going to cut a little bit off of here because I don't want to get rid of all the purple over there. So it's 3 3/4 by 5. So this is the 5 length. So you can use this strip on the inside. And then the 3 3/4, I want to get rid of more of this white. So I'm going to cut some more off of this side. You would have had a wider strip that you cut off, but you can still use this. All right, so now it's going to fit on there with a wider frame, but we needed that because now we are going to do this. We are going to take this and we're going to cut it here. We're going to line up this corner. Oops. We're going to line up this corner with 1 inch, and we're going to line up this corner with 1 inch. All right, so we're lining up this corner with 1 inch and this corner with 1 inch, and we're going to cut it. I know, did you all just freak out thinking I goofed up? Nope, I meant to cut it. So you've seen a lot of alternates using black. Yeah, because the black really makes it pop. So then you're going to turn this way. Try and keep it in line. You want it in line, and we're going to turn it, and we're going to cut. We want this one at 1 inch, but we want this one at 1 3/4 inch. All right, and then we're going to cut it. So yes, we just cut this into 4 pieces. Are you freaking out? It's okay, I promise. It will look really cool. The first time I had to do this, I was like, I don't want to cut it. But it looks good. Yeah, the black really makes the colors pop. I went through all kinds of things. I was like, oh, how about this one? But it just really doesn't make it pop. The purple alone kind of helped. The darker the color, the more it popped. That's why I used the purple on this one, the gorgeous grape. but it didn't make it pop. With this gold, I really wanted it to pop. So now what we're going to do is piece it back together. All right, piece it back to, here we go, piece it back together. All right. So you want the same edge. Now there's different ways of doing this. You can do this where you don't cut as much off and you just cut it and you pull it out to the side all the way to the edge, but I wanted that black outline because I really liked the look of that. So like this, and then like that. And of course you can cut it however you want. So we're gonna glue these down like this. So it just kind of gives it that fractured, cracked look. I don't know if there's a name for it. I learned this technique actually at Onstage. We had to do it for one of our make and takes, and I was like, oh, that is a cool idea. And then when I saw this, that was my first thought. It was like, ooh, I could do that cracked idea, because I think it's awesome. I think it looks really cool, and you can do it with stamped stuff, with stamped images. So you want to make sure that you're lining things up. And no, it's not necessarily easy, but I figured out a way to kind of hide this centerpiece where it doesn't look quite exact. I don't know why it doesn't look quite exact. I was able to do it at Onstage, but here this weekend I wasn't able to make it work exactly. So here we go. So see how it's not quite lined up. And that's just could be my eyesight and my lack of lining up. All right, so here we go. All right. So, but the great point is that you then have the hugs and you can hide that right there like that. So that's what I did. I put a dimensional, where's my dimensionals? They were here. Here they go. We'll put a dimensional there. All right. We'll put a dimensional right there on the G. And then we will use some of these skinny ones on other points. And if we have to cut something down, we can cut something down. All right. And I think this one needs to get cut down a little bit. Here we go. And then this one. Oop. Here we go. I need something down here because I want to make sure. So what I did is I took these little strips here and I use those for this part. Whoops. All right, so this gets into the little bit tedious, but it's all good. And then I think I need something on there and up here. So I'm just going to cut those out of this, because that's really long, and if you don't have it, it'll just sag or it'll flap. All right, so now we're going to take off all these little papers and put it down. There we go. Just taking, oh, that one, oh, there it is. All right, so taking off all these little papers, and then we'll be able to stick it down and it will be secure. So There we go, like that. And then the Sending My Love, we're going to put that on dimensionals. I'm just going to use a strip of this. Cat hair. It's just everywhere. Those of you with cats or dogs understand it's just everywhere, no matter what. All right, and then I'm going to dip this. Oops. No, what did I do? I think I put it over. Oh, I know what I did. That's a little too long. All right, here we go. So I put Sending My Love like that. And then I did a black butterfly, but we're going to use this little brushed brass butterfly instead. Because of what is it about butterflies being, you know, being comforting, right? Somehow butterflies are comforting. Not sure what that's all about. Can you add the cutting info to this when you are done? Yes, I can. I can. All right, so there is that card. Now we're going to just put it on to our gorgeous grape. And Missy, when we get off this live, just message me real quick and say, hey, don't forget the measurements, and I'll do it right then. I've got one more card after this for you, so I might forget if you don't message me, because you know me. You know me. All right, so there you go. Isn't that great? Doesn't that look awesome? I totally, whoop. What happened here? I totally love it. All right, so here was the first one I did. I cut it a little higher. This time I brought it down a little lower, which I like better because then I see more of that. All right, so there is this card reimagined. All right, and then my last one was using the back side of this, because this had the gold frame. I wasn't sure I wanted to take the time to actually cut it out, but I wanted to use this, and I came up with a cute idea for that. We're going to start with our card base, again at the 5.5. Scored at 4. All right, but then I'm going to cut off, let me make sure I cut the right amount. I'm going to cut off 3/4 of an inch off the top flap. So I'm going to cut off 3/4 of an inch so that when you fold it in half and burnish it, you have this bit where it's not quite the right size, but that's okay. It's supposed to be like that. All right, then we're going to take, I'm not going to use this. I'll use this next week for something else for you. We're going to take this card base and we're going to cut this off. All right. Oh, I'm reaching for it. So let me get my notes. All right, so we're going to cut this at 3 and what? Hold on, let me just double check. Yeah, okay. So 3 3/16. So that's 1, 2, 3 right here. 3 3/16, and then another piece off the bottom we're going to cut at 1/2 inch, which is easier for me to do on this side because having all that paper hanging off is hard. All right, so this is what I have left over to play with. Now we're going to turn this. It's going to be cut at 5 1/8, which is 2/16 if you want to get that technical about it. And then over here, 5 1/8. We're going to cut off of this side. All right. So we have these two pieces. You're like, what? Okay, just hang on. Hang on. Now we need some more black, because black set off those colors, right? The black just really set off those colors. So now we're going to cut our black at 5 1/4. All right, 5 1/4 by 3 5/16. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the little line right after 1/4. All right. And then this one needs to be cut at 5/8. So that is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the one between 1/2 and 3/4. Like this. So then you have these two pieces. All right. Now we're going to emboss. All right. And we're going to use the new Pressed Flowers embossing folder. Now the way it's set up, it's supposed to hang, because you know when you get flowers and you dry them, you hang them upside down. So it's supposed to hang. That's why Stampin' Up! Is right side up here. But I'm going to do it this way. All right, so let's bring in our machine. Let's probably zoom out a little bit, because you're probably like, whoa, that's huge. All right, so if you've been wanting this machine, you can now get it in your starter kit, because their new starter kit program or special is $99 for the starter kit, and you get $165 worth of product of your choice. Stampin' Up! Doesn't tell you what to get in your starter kit. I will help you figure out what to get in your starter kit if you want the help, but they don't tell you what to do. All right, so we're going to take this one and we're going to put it down here. And we're going to take this one and we're going to put it up here. All right, so then we can move this more up higher. So I want to make sure, yeah, I want to make sure it's not quite, here we go. There we go. And this is a standard one, so you're actually going to use plate 1, 3, and 3, not 1 and 4. So it's going to emboss like that. So you use plate 1, plate 3, and then another plate 3, because it is not a 3D. Ooh, it's moving away. Come on, there we go. There we go. I didn't have these lined up. That's why it wasn't catching properly. All right. And we're not going to set this aside yet, because we're going to need, so then we have these. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that pretty? So it's supposed to be as if they're hanging dried flowers, but I wanted them coming up because of the blue. Then what we need is we need to add in plate 2. And I just realized I forgot some pool party. So let me get the pool party out of here for you. And we're going to do, I don't know if that's big enough. We're going to do some dice. Ooh, that is big enough. So what I like to do is I like to tear it off. So I'm just putting in those little pieces. All right, so we're gonna do that right there. And then I need a piece of black. Didn't grab a small enough piece of black. I'm going to tear a piece off for that, and we're going to do a sentiment piece. And then we're going to do a flower and berry burst, which I also did not grab. All right, come on. There we go. You'd think I'd have been ready, right? I was not. I forgot about this part. Had my papers close at hand. All right, so we're going to run these through. So we have plate 1, 2, 3, paper, dies, and 3. And we're going to run those back through here so we can make our card. All right. So we have those. We have that. We'll move this. All right, and then we have our, let's turn that back around. There we go. All right. So we have that. All right. There we go. We have our hugs. We have our flower. Just poking that so that it releases. All right. We have our flower. And then we have our sentiment piece. All right, so we're using all of those. We've got our embossed pieces. We've got our black, and we've got our card base. So let's go ahead and put it all together. All right, so let's get you zoomed back in. All right, here we go. We're going to layer this on here. So we want to put our glue, and whenever you have embossing, you want to have just a little bit of extra glue. Still not a lake. You know, a line is fine, a lake is a mistake. However, you want to have enough because you do have all that embossing. All right, and you want to make sure that it sticks. So we're going to put that on here with a very fine 1/8 border, just like that. Okay, so we had part of it embossed, part of it is not embossed. Isn't that so pretty? Do you love that? I just love it. At first I was kind of like, why do they not have the whole embossing folder covered? But now I am so glad they don't. I love that look. All right, and then we're going to put it on here. So we're going to glue that down. And again, we're going to, oops, it's got a little bit larger of a frame or border, depending on what you want to call it. All right, and then we have our black, so we're going to put this one on the black. Again, you have all this embossing, so you want to make sure you have enough glue, but not too much glue. All right, there's a fine line between enough and too much, so you want to be careful. And again, you want it to have that little bit of border, like that. All right, might be time for a new blade on that one. All right, and then this is going to go down here. Right. Make sure these are going up so you don't have it the opposite way, and you want to center it across there to match up. Oop. Ah. You want to match it up with the top one, even if the top one's a little off, so that it's flowing. There you go. All right, then we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of this one. where'd my, I'm just going to use these dimensionals because I don't know where that other sheet went. All right, so I'm going to do one on each end and then one on each side, top and bottom. And we will stick this on up here. Right. Then we're going to use the hugs. Actually, I'm going to do this first because that way I can make sure it stays on the card. Just a little bit of glue right here in the center and then over here where it's thicker. All right. Do that right there. That way it stays on the card and I don't accidentally put it too high. That's what I almost did on the other one. And then we're going to get out our tweezers because it's easier to hold it that way. And add some glue on here. And again, if I had thought about it, because I always wait until I'm gluing and then I think, oh, I should use the adhesive sheets. Except by now it's too late to use the adhesive sheets. And this is when I remember the adhesive sheets. So if you are smarter than me, I'll say wiser than me. If you are wiser than me, use the adhesive sheets before you get to the point where you're gluing and thinking, oh dang, I should have used it. And again, I just realized I didn't have to drop the glue that low. But it's done. So it'll just dry without being stuck to anything. All right, so then we have hugs. All right, so this was the original. And there we go. So these are the three. So 1, 2, 3. Where's the other one? All right, from today. All right, here are the three. Let's go back out a little. All right, here are the three alternates for today from this beautiful Inked Occasions. Guess I need to go back out a little bit more. There we go. Inked Occasions. Here are 3 ideas for you. Of course, you do not have to do them. These are just ideas using pretty much mainly what's in the kit and then just bringing a couple extra colors, the Berry Burst Black and Gorgeous Grape cardstock into the mix. But other than that, I used everything else plus the dies to show you some alternates of what you can do with these cards. So I look forward to playing some more to see what else I can bring you for next week. So stay tuned. And in the meantime, play with your stamp set. Play with your papers. Play with your die add-ons if you got them. If you didn't, you might consider getting them. If you're a subscriber, you really, I mean, they have, so it's the sentiment piece, the leaves, the hugs, and the flower. And it's a great set, and you can see we've done that and we've used all of them together. So I could have even used the heart and I could have done a bee. Oh, let's put some butterflies on there because they just seem to be comforting, right? What is it about butterflies being comforting? I don't know. All right, this time we're going to use a big one over here. Whoop. All right, we're going to use a big one. It doesn't want to get unstuck. Big one. I'll use this little one that keeps bouncing off the paper. All right, come on, come on, come on, come on. Here we go. And we'll use another little one on the flower. There we go. All right, so we have our 3 alternates. I trust you like them. I trust you give it a whirl. I will put the measurements for these 2 in there. This one, of course, is just cut 1/8 inch smaller. So I can put it 2. So we'll call this 1, 2, and 3 in the order that I did them, and I will put the measurements for them in the comments right here as soon as we get off. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you, and I love having you join me and share with me what you're doing. So if you've done some different alternates, put them in the comments below. Let us see what you're doing with your cards and your paper pumpkin. And if you are just making the cards as is, let us see how you did that too, because I love it. These cards are so awesome. You don't have to change them at all, because they are absolutely gorgeous as is. So I get it. If you're like, nope, I just want to put the cards together the way they designed it, that is awesome. Do that. Do that. But share it with us. Let us know. So have a great rest of your Thursday. I will be back again on Tuesday for Kit Together Tuesday. And then I will also be starting another live day, and I'll let you know next week. I'm going to probably be moving Paper Pumpkin Playdate to a different day so that I can bring back Thunderstruck Thursdays. All right, so stay tuned, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.